I explained earlier, you have the corporate media that cheers on war criminals. The war criminals apparently are not doing enough. The United States spent 2 times more than the Russian military on Ukraine. But here, Oliver Velshi, who apparently he's been given the assignment, CJ. We do a lot of these breakdowns on MSNBC. Like Morning Joe, he talk about Ukraine a lot. You see everyone sprinkle some Ukraine propaganda in, but he's the go-to guy. If you guys been paying attention, he's the guy who will do these long, comprehensive propaganda segments. And I want to show you guys this because this is very short, 3-minute clip that shows the unhinged ideology. This guy said, look at the title of the video. Ukraine needs all the aid the West can give right now. Like, and he's gonna make the argument that we're not doing enough. What more can we possibly do? And remember, weapon defense contractors pay for ads on this station. So there's a layer of corruption here. So let's listen to this real quick and feel free to interrupt anytime, guys.
In Ukraine, Russia is continuing to target civilian areas. The latest attack killed at least 40 people, including 3 children, after Russian missiles struck an apartment building in the city of Dnipro on Sunday. Rescue efforts are now giving way to a recovery mission, and this latest strike continues to highlight how Russia is conducting this phase of the war. They're hitting civilian and energy infrastructure, claiming that they're targeting disguised military installations or that the destruction.
And by the way, Amnesty International and many groups already called out Ukraine for doing this, putting military and strategic structures in civilian areas, which is a war crime. That's what Amnesty International called Ukraine out for. Just want to let you guys know.
Destruction is the result of Ukrainian countermeasures, sometimes in the very same breath. What is clear is that the targets Russia keeps hitting are hundreds of miles away from the front lines, and the strikes are aimed at Ukrainian civilians. One thing helping to prevent Russian victory right now is the increased material support that Ukraine is now getting from the West. It's just about all Ukrainian President Volodymyr asks for on a regular basis. He addressed Congress in Washington saying, "We don't need your soldiers. We need the weapons." And over the months, Western democracies have sent money and advanced missile systems and infantry fighting vehicles. Now the United Kingdom is even sending battle tanks, the kind of things that Zelensky...
Tanks, they are not a defensive weapon, by the way, as me and CJ covered.
We covered that yesterday.
And look, he's literally pulling up all the receipts of the West, pouring money into Ukraine. And you would think any rational person would be critical of this. But listen to the angle he takes on this.
He called, quote, exactly what Ukraine needs to restore its territorial integrity, end quote. But the West is only sending the help incrementally. Even as Russia prepares to pivot, Russia is now undergoing...
Only sending incrementally. two times more than the Russian military budget. This guy calls incrementally. And they just say as a fact, oh, just incremental. All this shit you listed is incremental?
I think, Nick, the turn up by some people to really go hard at, they're openly saying some of these things because I know they know public sentiment is waning, so they're trying to gin it back up. They're trying to get it back up. It's almost like where they're chastising people. Don't you know Ukraine still need us? That type of I get that sort of sentiment or sentiment from segments like this on corporate media. Go ahead.
And the live ball missions is insane because in war there are a lot of civilian casualties. And I've been analyzing a lot of these segments, and they never ever bring up the citizens that the Ukrainian side killed. Ever. They always, oh my God, these civilians killed by Russia. Never bring up anything that the Ukrainian forces did. It's straight up propaganda because they trying to give you the cheerlead for one side, not to have a sober thought and analysis that war is hell. Like I acknowledge that Russia has killed civilians as well. That is why I want a peace in the region, because I want to stop. I want less civilians to die. Let's continue on, and you got this is not a long segment here, so we only got a little bit more to listen to.
Pivot. Russia is now undergoing joint drills with Belarus, a country Russia will pull into this war sooner or later. And the head of the Ukrainian intelligence is warning that Russia is preparing to mobilize another 500,000 conscripts. And they will go to war ill-equipped with bad weaponry and bad training and no real motivation to fight. But Vladimir Putin can call up.
Everything they say is a projection. There was literally videos showing Ukrainian soldiers being thrown out. They had no idea how to use any of their weapons that they just got from the West. There's videos that I saw very recently of 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds that Zelensky is thrown out there on the battlefield now. And what he just explained here, and what me and Rome explained many times on RBN, Russia is just getting started. Putin has been criticized for his slow rollout of this war. So my friends and family, I'm asking you, how does it make sense when you see these people come out and say, oh my God, Russia is losing? Based on what? Land? No. People? No. Ukraine lost way more people. Russia has way more. They've just been toying with Ukraine. It doesn't even make sense to say they're losing. They're literally just playing with you guys and haven't even got started yet. So now they're like, oh, sorry, let's send some more troops in. Then the West's like, oh my God, Russia's finally taking this seriously. What do you think was going to happen? When you guys shift the strategy of having Ukraine versus Russia, now it's NATO versus Russia. Anyway, let's continue. Now, not too much longer here. There we go.
Many more waves of conscripts like this out of a Russian population of more than 140 million people. Russia can win a war of attrition. It seems clear that Putin knows that fact. He can just wear Ukraine down, which is why Western governments need to figure out what the maximal amount of support they plan to eventually give Ukraine might be and give it all to them right now.
What?
Why? They're not going to win.
Why is it his job to do this? Is my question. Why is it your job to have to report this way? I don't understand that part, but go ahead.
You guys see what I said earlier? Biden has already been unbelievably unhinged. He sent 2 times more than the Russian military budget. And Alaveshi on MSNBC is criticizing the West for not sending more. He said, despite the billions we have sent, Biden sent he just signed for another $3.5 billion package. He's like, why don't we calculate how much it would take to defeat Russia and send it all at once? That would triple, quadruple military budgets of the entire European faction. Like, you guys understand, Germany already been tapped out. England complaining that they've been tapped out. They got to increase production to help Ukraine, and they're not even winning. And Alaveshi is like, send more right now. I won't play that part again because this is the real exclamation. Hey. Listen to this part again, and I'll get you back in there, JB. Listen to this.
Yeah.
There you go.
Need to figure out what the maximal amount of support they plan to eventually give Ukraine might be and give it all to them right now.
JB, go ahead. But
give them millions. I'm sorry. Dr. Evil just said, give them millions.
Yeah. Man, I wish I could have saw that. I can't really see anything. That's classic JB. But you gotta remember, Boeing, Raytheon advertise on MSNBC. Like Jimmy said, there's not ordinary corruption. Our country is the most advanced level of corruption. So we have weapon defense contractors that advertise on MSNBC. They directly profit from the weapon spending in Ukraine. So then they have their paid goon, and it is not an exaggeration to say that this guy get a check from Boeing. That's literally how he get paid. He get a check from weapon defense contractors to demand politicians to send them more money. Unbelievable. And guess what? Joe Biden them listen. And because they listen, MSNBC come out and give Biden a great coverage, soft coverage. You gotta see how this is way worse than state TV. Mm-hmm. It is way worse. I'll end the segment there. You guys have any other thoughts?
JB want to chime in.
Let me ask you this, Nick, CJ, Savvy. How about that tweet that I sent asking if it was a terrible idea that NATO existed?
You had NAFO go after you. Yeah, is it NAFO? Is that how you say it? NAFO? Yeah. NAFO went after you.
Yo, 3,000 likes later. Now everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, are you kidding me right now?" They're like, "You're such an idiot. We need NATO." And one guy was like, "Name one country that NATO has infiltrated." And I want to go, "My sweet summer child." Sit on
It's
down.
amazing that regular people are coming out to say we are for NATO. It's amazing that I mean, you can convince people of anything. You can convince that. That's just that is just amazing.
NAFO is like whenever you got NAFO that come after you, that's when you get your real anti-imperialist stripes on Twitter. And it's like a badge of honor because no one believes they are real. No one believes, especially after the Twitter files. After what the Twitter files playing with Ukraine and how the Pentagon works with social media. Like, no one believes NAFO is real. No one believes it. So whenever you have NAFO come after you, the only thing they're doing is boosting your shit in the algorithm. That's why you had shit ton of likes on your tweet. I cut one of my videos when I did about Zelensky, and that's the one they really counted me out. But that video ended up getting more than 2,000 likes, had a ton of views. Like, you guys only helped me. Like, being ratioed by a bunch of bots that don't exist means nothing. So consider that a badge of honor. If you got their attention.